Hey, welcome to Hooper's Radar. Today I'll be covering and discussing every trade and news from NBA Free Agency Day 2, which was July 1st. So with that said, let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to start by going over every trade on Shams' Twitter, starting with free agent guard Dennis Smith Jr. agrees to a one-year deal with the Brooklyn Nets. So I think it's a solid deal for the Nets. They get an athletic guard who was young, promising in his first couple years and has become more of a defensive-minded point guard now, and is definitely a solid bet for this Nets team that is looking to make the playoffs at least next year. Obviously, for the second trade, this has been the biggest headliner of today, aside from Dillon Brooks, who we'll get to later. Trailblazers star Damian Lillard requests a trade from Portland. Obviously, the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets become the leading suitors to get him. Obviously, I'm sure most of you know his preferred destination is the Miami Heat, so hopefully the Miami Heat will acquire him, especially after all the players the Miami Heat have lost. So that will be interesting to see. If not, the Nets will also be a good fit, but I like the Miami Heat more for him. I've also seen that the 76ers are also another suitor for him, but I guess we'll have to see. Let's say you want to go to an Eastern Conference team. It's definitely going to be either Brooklyn or Miami. The 76ers are in shambles right now. For the next trade, Brook Lopez, who I expected would go back to the Milwaukee Bucks, signs a 2-year, $48 million deal. This is a good deal for the Bucks. He was a very big piece of what they are. He's obviously one of the best defensive players in the league right now, and was in the Defensive Player of the Year award race for most of the year. He's been their center and won a championship with them, and $48 million 2 years is a good, valuable deal for him, and it's only 2 years if he starts declining. Okay, so yeah, the Bucks have Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton coming back to them. They keep that championship core around Giannis, keep Giannis happy. Austin Reeves agrees to go back to the Lakers on a 4-year, $56 million deal. This is a very good, valuable deal for Austin Reeves. For some reason, I thought he was going to get much more money. I thought some team out there would throw $20 million a year at him, because let's be honest, a lot of teams have been throwing a lot of money at some of these players that aren't worth that money, like the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have been throwing money at anybody. But I guess Austin Reeves either declined those contracts, he wanted to stay in LA, but I'm sure he would have taken a $20 million a year. But Austin Reeves stays in LA, not what I expected, but this is great. They keep D'Lo, they keep Reeves, they keep Rui, they keep a lot of that core. They really only let go of Dennis Schroeder, who as a major piece. Mo Bamba, not a big part, so the Lakers have been able to keep that hopefully contending core. Next trade, the Hornets. I didn't expect this, but I guess LaMelo signs a very overpaid extension for 5 years, $260 million. They're keeping LaMelo for 5 years, I guess. It was one of their top picks. Obviously, a very promising player. They are yet to see any actual playoff success with LaMelo, but hopefully this contract is an insurance to them that LaMelo will help lead them into the play-in at least at some point. But for a very young, promising player, it's good that they keep LaMelo, but this is definitely an overpaid contract for somebody who really hasn't accomplished much quite yet, aside from personal success. The Rockets near a deal to send 2 former first-round picks, Ty Washington and Usman Garuba, to Atlanta. I don't know what the Rockets get in return, but I'm sure they're doing this just to either free up roster space and money. The Rockets are nearing a deal with Dillon Brooks. We'll get to this when it happens. Obviously, this was rumored to happen, as the Rockets did have money to get Dillon Brooks, so I'm interested in that. The Rockets finalized a deal to acquire Brooklyn's Patty Mills via trade. That's an interesting one. Patty Mills to the Rockets. I guess they're trying to get a couple of vets in after getting Fred VanVleet, trying to get Dillon Brooks. Maybe they're trying to get some vets in there. I don't know what the Rockets' direction is, considering they had a lot of youth prior to this free agency period, but I think they're trying to make a chance. They're trying to get a chance at trying to make the playoffs, I guess, the play-in, because they're kind of putting a lot of older players now into this timeline of youth. Another interesting signing that I had saw earlier today that I did not expect. I don't know who decided that Jock Landale was worth 4 years, $32 million. He is a very solid player, but I guess the Rockets, this is just another example of the Rockets saying we have money left to throw. Let's throw it at somebody who is solid and is a decent piece, and they signed Jock Landale to this 4-year, $32 million deal. Jock Landale was solid in the absences of DeAndre Ayton last season, but Jock Landale is not worth 4 years, $32 million in my opinion. This is a vet minimum guy, but I guess the Rockets just had the money to do it. Free agent Jalen McDaniels agrees to a 2-year, $9.3 million deal with the Toronto Raptors. I like this deal for the Raptors. Solid wing. That's about it. Next deal, Jack White agrees on a 2-year deal with the Thunder. I don't know who Jack White is. The Thunder have acquired a lot of guys that I don't know the names of. A lot of underground guys, I guess. So hopefully that's a solid pickup. And the last trade on Shams' page is that Alex Len agrees on a 1-year, $3.2 million contract to go back to the Kings. The Kings have kept this guy for a while. I guess he's been a decent center in the 10 minutes he plays a game behind Sabonis, because Sabonis plays basically most of the games and is durable. So those are all the trades on Shams. Let's see if there's anything else major. I'm hoping Woj covered the full details on what's his name, Dillon Brooks. So that's okay. So starting with Sabonis does resign to the Sacramento Kings. This is another overpay, I believe. 5 years, $217 million. So you're paying this guy about $40 million each year. That is a lot of money. He's obviously a great player. This is a guy that averaged, if I'm not lying, I'm pretty sure he averaged 18, 12, and about 7. This is a very great player. Was obviously very key to the success they had during the regular season. Fell off a little bit during the playoffs, but he has been part of this team making the playoffs and being relevant again and winning games. So they bring him back. Keeping him in a small market like Sacramento probably required the overpay. And there's been a lot of overpays this free agency, and at this point I've been used to the overpays, and this isn't really the worst overpay at all. This is actually one of the ones that I think is a little bit more worth it, considering the value you get out of Sabonis. So the next trade is free agent Dante Exum is returning to the NBA on a guaranteed deal with the Mavericks. I haven't heard about Dante Exum in forever. Hopefully this will be a decent pickup in age for them. This is another big trade that I liked a lot. Dante DiVincenzo's to the Knicks. He reunites with his former Nova teammates in Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Obviously the Warriors lose a very solid role player in Dante DiVincenzo. This is an L for them. And the Knicks get another solid role player that has chemistry with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, a guy that can shoot the ball, can do a little bit of playmaking, a little bit of shot creating, and a little bit of defending. A very versatile guy. Plays bigger than he is. This was a very key piece for the Warriors during the regular season and the playoffs off the bench. And I like Dante DiVincenzo for them. They get 4 years, $50 million. Great, valuable deal. And the Knicks have just done some of the smallest things to improve as a team. Next trade, center Sandro Mamulekashvili agrees to a 1-year, $2 million deal with the Spurs. I guess they're just trying to get a couple of backup bigs. I don't know who this guy is, but solid deal, I guess. The Clippers acquire KJ Martin. I like this a lot. KJ Martin has been a solid player, double-digit scorer for the Rockets, and he's very athletic, can also play solid defense and rebound. Is a very young and athletic, energetic player, and I like this for the Clippers. Next trade is Russell Westbrook. Goes back to the Clippers on a $7.82 two-year dollar deal. That's crazy. This is this is a crazy deal. The fact that they're only paying about $8 million for Russell Westbrook over the span of 2 years, $4 million each year for a guy that hasn't really been that bad, that he deserves only $4 million a year. I'm pretty sure at his worst he was averaging 15, 7, and 7, which is on the Lakers. And this guy went off for the Clippers in the playoffs, so I don't know why they couldn't give him more money. But I guess this might have been the best deal Russ had on the table, which is crazy. I thought Russ would have had a bigger market after his stock rose during the playoffs, because he played very well in the playoffs. I believe he averaged like 25-5 in the playoffs for the Clippers. I thought he kind of revived his worth in this league, but I guess $8 million for 2 years is the best he could have gotten. And I like him going back to the Clippers, but this is just a steal for getting Russ. And this is just, I feel like this is just disrespectful to the player that Russ is. This is way too low for his talent. Already went over this one. Yeah, Russ. All right, so the Rockets agree. Yeah, they got Jock Landale. Okay, now we're going to go over the details of Dillon Brooks. This is a top 3 biggest trade today as well. Dillon Brooks agrees on a 4-year, $80 million contract with the Rockets. The guy that was getting clowned during the playoffs, the guy that told LeBron that he was getting old, that he wasn't going to drop 40 on him, and LeBron went on and dropped 20 points, 20 rebounds. He gave him the 40 in 2 different stats. So Dillon Brooks gets $20 million a year after not having the greatest market, having a lot of struggles offensively since he even came into the league, being one of the most inefficient scorers. The defense is the only upside for him right now. I guess they're looking for Dillon Brooks to kind of have a little bit of a fresh start and revitalize why he was such a valuable player coming into the league the first time. And they give him $20 million a year for 4 years, equaling up to $80 million. And hopefully this will be a good move for the Rockets to get an intense player in Dillon Brooks, who's, I guess, hungry to prove everyone wrong after he hasn't been the best as of late. So this is another example of the Rockets throwing money at a player with interesting upside. I guess we'll see what happens with Dillon Brooks, but I do wish the best for him. And I kind of like this trade a bit for the Rockets, as weird as it is. Next trade, Ty Jerome agrees on a 2-year, $5 million deal with the Cavs. Like this too. The Cavs have made small moves. Well, not the smallest moves, but they made like medium-sized moves, like getting Georges Niang and Max Strus, that I feel like have improved their roster a lot and gotten more wings, more shooting, and I like them for them. Ty Jerome is a solid player, good contract. Obviously, the Dame trade has been pretty crazy. Dwight Powell goes back to the Mavericks. Expected this. I feel like Dwight Powell is going to stay. He's been on the Mavericks forever now. He agrees to a 3-year, $12 million deal. Solid deal, $4 million a year for a backup center. I don't know where he'll play behind. I don't know how it's going to look between him, Derek Lively, and Maxi Kleber, but he goes back to the Mavericks. The Jazz trade Damian Jones to the Cavs. Another center for the Cavs. I already have enough big men, I think, but it is what it is. The Magic keep Mo Wagner on a 2-year, $60 million contract. I like this for the Magic. Very solid player for the Magic, and they're paying him on a pretty good contract. Aside from the LaMelo extension, Mo Wagner going back. Oh, Obi Toppin to the Pacers. This is another major one that I didn't expect. Obi Toppin was a solid rotational piece for the Knicks during the playoffs and during the regular season, and I was very surprised to find out that the Knicks would give up such a solid rotational piece with a lot of potential to the Pacers for just 2 future second-round picks. But I guess there's a new opportunity for the Pacers. I hope he starts on the Pacers. He's a starting caliber power forward in my opinion, and he can shoot, and he's very athletic. I think him and Tyrese Halliburton, the pick and roll, major lob threat. On to the next one. Rockets guard Trevor Hudgens signs a qualifying offer made on a 2-way contract. Don't know who that is really. Patrick Beverley signs a 1-year deal with the 76ers. I don't know what's going on with the 76ers right now. They're about to lose James Harden. They've lost Georges Niang. They've lost Shake Milton. They've lost players. They've lost some key players to their team. They obviously have Tobias still. They have Tyrese, but they're about to lose James Harden. And I wonder what getting Patrick Beverley really does much for this team. I guess we'll see. But I like this signing for the 76ers. You get that veteran, feisty defensive player, and Pat Bev. Yeah, with Brook Lopez, we already discussed that one. Okay, the D'Lo going back to the Lakers. I spoke about D'Lo staying on the Lakers along with Reeves staying and Rui staying. I like this trade. I like this deal a lot. For some reason, I thought D'Lo would have been offered a bit more in the $20 million a year. But I guess after his downs, maybe the money he was receiving from other teams went down a bit, and this was the best deal from a value standpoint. And obviously, he does want to stay on one team for a while, so he agrees to a 2-year, $37 million contract to stay with the Lakers. He is the starting point guard for this team. He's getting paid about, what is this equal up to, about $18 million a year. So this is a very solid contract for D'Lo, and I believe he'll have a better season this year once come playoff time. But he was very good during the regular season for the Lakers. Obviously, had his struggles during the playoffs. I like this. I honestly like this pickup for the Miami Heat. They get Thomas Bryant, who's an athletic, lob-catching center who can rebound well. We saw a lot of stints when Anthony Davis was injured. Thomas Bryant would go out and put up some double-doubles for the Lakers. He's obviously not a very good defender, but he is a good rebounder, and he is an athletic big who can score. So I do like this deal for the Miami Heat. They get him for 2 years, $5.4 million, and they can either choose to start him and finally move Bam to the power forward like I've been asking, or they can just put him as the backup center like they did with Cody Zeller this past year. Either way, like the signing for the Heat. Underrated signing in my opinion. EuroLeague guard, this Vasilij Mikic, one of Europe's best, has agreed on a 3-year, $23.5 million to join the Thunder. The Thunder gets some Euro player. Hopefully this is a good signing for them. Don't know much about him. Yeah, obviously the Damian Lillard request trade has taken everything by storm. Sacramento Kings landed a 3-year deal with the EuroLeague MVP. I'm assuming this guy's going to be very good. His name is Sasha Venkov. If he was the EuroLeague MVP, which is one of the best leagues in the world, I'm assuming he'll be a very good player. 3 years, $20 million deal. Solid deal for him for sure. And then Jackson Hayes. Oh, I like this deal a lot for the Lakers. I forgot about this deal. Obviously, with Mo Bamba leaving, they had to replace that backup center spot, and they get Jackson Hayes for a 2-year contract with the Lakers. Yeah, I like this. Jackson Hayes hasn't gotten a lot of minutes with the Pelicans, but when he has, he does have foul problem issues, but he is very athletic and a long center, and I like this for them. Hopefully, this will give them a bit more youth and energy, which is what I'm sure they were looking to get from Jackson Hayes. Yeah, the Max Strus trade obviously went down. I'm pretty sure did I discuss this or not? I'm pretty sure I discussed this. Yeah. All right, so those are all the trades for free agency day 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I definitely think that the Damian Lillard trade, the Dillon Brooks one, and some of these other trades that I saw, especially the Damian Lillard requesting, yeah, that was crazy. But the Dillon Brooks trade was definitely one of the biggest ones. Definitely don't know what to think about free agency day 2. I think it actually was better than day 1. There was a lot of unexpected things that happened. More overpays as expected. This free agency has definitely put an exclamation mark in the amount of overpays that have happened. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned. I'll probably be making another day 3 free agency depending on how much happens tomorrow. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to stay on the radar for all things basketball.